Hi friends, welcome to Victor's Reality. In today's video, I'll be covering the Aorus Xtreme GeForce RTX 2080 graphics card. I've had this card for 3 weeks, and I just wanted to give an update on what my thoughts are, my opinions on my likes and dislikes on the card. And for anyone that is interested in buying this card, just for you guys to be aware on some things. You'll see some cutouts throughout the video as I'll do this in parts. So let's begin. It's a 3-slot graphics card. The card is very cool, meaning temperature wise. Has 3 fans and a metal back plate. I mean, that's the overall aesthetics of the card. I mean, the main reason why you're here is to find out about the LEDs and if it overclocks good and if it's stable. So right off the bat, I'm getting some good numbers. The card is already overclocked. I believe it's 1890 by 14140. At least that's what I see in the Aorus Xtreme software. I can get it up to 7800 with the memory frequency, and up to, I want to say, 2055, 2070 on unstable clocks. So what I do is I just plus 60 on the core clocks and plus 730 on the memory frequency. I found out that if I go any higher, if I go to 8000 megahertz, there's no gain, and at least in my testing, I actually get less performance. And also with the core clocks, if I go plus 80, meaning if I go to plus 100, it can occasionally crash. Plus 80 is safe, but I've also found out in my testing in gaming and benchmarks and all that if I go to plus 80, I get less stable clocks than if I go to plus 60. And that's also at fans at 80 to 100%. Again, your miles may vary. If you go through the auto fan route, it's a whole nother world. I don't go through that route. I'd like to keep mine at 60, 80, and 100 depending on what I'm doing. And that's also to do with the lights. Now, again, this is my opinion. I'm sure other people who have this card might find it different, but I'll show you exactly what I'm talking about. And I don't believe it's a software glitch. I just believe that's how the card is and how the card was made. But overall, I'm happy with the card. I'm happy that I got it. I'm going to keep it, and I'm going to game on it. And this channel is for VR, so this is going to come in handy. I could have gotten the 1080 Ti, but I'm not going to go the eBay route. I'm not going to go used. Who knows what these people have done with their graphics cards, right? So, and it comes with a 4-year warranty, which is very handy. If anything goes wrong, of course, internally with the card, Aorus will take care of that. So that's good. It's already overclocked to 1890, I believe 14140 on the memory frequency. I've been able to overclock it to I can go as far as plus 80, which brings the real world gameplay. If you look at the benchmarks, I believe 2080 megahertz. I've seen it up to 2100 megahertz. I believe there's a glitch on the Heaven benchmark where it goes up to 2180 or 2300. It doesn't go up to that in reality. It only goes up to like 2100, but it goes back down. Even at 5965C, the limit stays about 240, 255, 270. It's always fluctuating in between those 3 clocks. And I believe that's depending on the fan profile. If you have it at auto or stock, it's going to go at 1980, 2040 tops, but it has 60 to 80 to 100 fan profile. It'll stay at 255, 270. That's what I'm seeing on my end. The clocks can go up to 80, meaning I can get it up to 80 on Afterburner or even with the Aorus software, but I don't want to push it that high. I go down to 60, plus 60, and I'll tell you why in a bit. Also with the memory frequency, I can get it up to 8000, but I dialed it back to 7800. And the reason why I've dialed it back from 80 to 60, from 8,000 to 7,800 is I did Heaven benchmark and I did the Valley benchmark. I did some gaming myself. And I've done the benchmark 10 times and I did the average 10 times. And from all the benchmarking, I've noticed that the higher I go, at least plus 60, like 60 to 80 and 7,800 to 8,000, no improvement. And I actually sometimes saw, even with 100% fan profile, 80% fan profile, I tried 10 times in each. And I just saw I think I saw a slower graphics card, slower performance when I went to the 80 and plus 200 megahertz, which would be 8,000. So I dialed it back to 7,800, and I dialed it back down to 60 on the core. And I believe that's the sweet spot, just because I saw better improvement in FPS when I went back. So I don't know why that happened. And I also saw with the core clocks, they were more stable plus 60 than plus 80. Yeah, at plus 80 you could see 2100 like a minute. Then it goes back down to like 255, 270. And if I did plus 60 instead of the plus 80, I would stay at 270 for longer, and then it would stay at 270. It wouldn't go to 255. So I don't know if that's a glitch or whatever, but I don't know, 10, 20 megahertz, if I went to plus 100, I would get crashes. So then I'm like, okay, let me go. I don't want to go just negative 10 from that. I don't want to go to right at the limit, because you never know if there's a spike in the game or something and it crashes your game. You don't want that. So I went down to plus 80, but then plus 80 is my limit with this graphics card. I mean, plus 100 is the limit, but to safely say plus 80 is the limit, at least for my, to try to protect the card as much as possible. And then I go down even further, plus 60, because the tests I did, I found it more stable at plus 60 than plus 80. And then even way, plus 100 was just borderline. And you don't want to be stopped when you're playing, right? And also the memory frequency, like I said, plus 8,000, you could handle it, no problem. But what's the point of pushing it to the max if have you heard those rumors of, I believe, the memory frequencies? I've seen it on Reddit, a whole bunch of the 2080 Ti is dying. So I don't want to go too much over and to the limit. I just go down a little bit. It's already overclocked, so I'm overclocking it even more. But again, if you're going to overclock anything, make sure you have a high fan profile. 60 plus. You can't go under than 60. I wouldn't leave it in auto. I have an aggressive fan profile. I believe when it goes to 40, I already have it at 60, like 40 degrees Celsius, 50 degrees Celsius. I already have it at 60%. When it goes to 65, I go to 80%. And then when it goes to like 70 C, I go to 100%, just because I don't let my computer go plus 70 in anything. In my system, my system has a lot of space. So I'm not running the issue with heat in the actual system itself. So I have my Intel 87K. I have it at aggressive fan profile settings. I never let it go above 70. Also with the graphics card, if it hits 70, it better be at 100% fan profile, just because I don't want no issues with heat. And then the core clocks go down. I know if the core clocks will go down tremendously if the heat on the graphics card goes plus 70. I know it says on the power profile it's 88 degrees, right? 88 C. Yeah, right. That it'll go down to like 18 something. 19 something. I've seen the graphic. If it goes up to like 75 with very low, very bad fan profile, it would go to 1980. I don't want to see that. I want to see my 2055, 2070 is what I want to get out of the card. And I know it doesn't make a big difference, 50, whatever, but it's still like 5 to 10 frames. And if, every little bit counts, every little bit helps with your gaming, depending on your RAM, depending on the graphics card, depending on the memory frequency, depending on everything. All that, your CPU, if you overclock your CPU, if you don't overclock, same thing with your graphics card, all that adds to 5, 3, 5, 2. at the end of the day, you get 15 frames plus if you just left it at stock. So 15 frames plus to me is worth it, but you got to tinker with everything. So again, what I'm trying to say is just make sure you have if you're going to overclock anything, make sure you have an aggressive fan profile to be safe. And with this graphics card, you need to have an aggressive fan profile for the LEDs so it doesn't bother. You'll see in a video coming up. And also to make sure you get the core clocks to be stable at 2040 plus. 2040, 2055, 2070 is what, I don't know why they fall in those increments. But yeah, I never see it at 2100, at least not with this card. For a prolonged time, I never see that. And that's at 100%. Even at 100%, I've never seen it at 2100. I've seen it at 2070 last a long time, 2070. If you're doing, Sims 4, if you're playing something like Battlefield, those things run at 140, 160 hertz. It's not a problem. But, you want to get the most frames per second, you better make sure you have the fans to be able to do that. Now, the graphics card has 3 fans, an LED in each fan. 1, up here, 2, and 3. There's also an LED behind each of the plastic here. 1, 2, 3. And there's an LED right here. So it's, I guess, 1, 2, and then, so you can see right there, 3. So there's 9 total LEDs on the front face of the GPU. Fan, middle of the fan, and behind this plastic section right here. So there's 9 LEDs there. And then we have this part right here, the Aorus logo. I believe in the video you're going to see in a bit, the transition between colors with the LED, I believe there's 6 to 9 LEDs, but I think there's 6. And you'll see the transitions. And even if it's on the lowest or highest setting, you can see the transitions. I wish there were more LEDs here because that annoys, and you'll see in a bit. There's LEDs, I believe, up here at the top. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And when the transition happens, when all these colors right here change from white to blue, blue to purple, red, whatever, you can see the transitions. Also, that annoys me. I wish there were more LEDs. When you buy a graphics card, you're like, oh man, this is the 2080 RTX, DLSS, and ray tracing and all that stuff. You're like, yeah. But you pop it in, you play your games, you look at it, and then you're like, okay, after I've used it for 3 weeks, things are starting to annoy me. So I'd rather just cover all the bad things first, and then we'll go on to the good things. Usually it's vice versa, right? Usually they say the good things and the bad, but let's go with bad. Empire rules. Okay. This fan is too small. We're paying big money. We want big fans. We want at least the same size fans. That's just me. I want this, and I understand why, because as you can see, it has to be where the fans can pass each other. So I understand that's how and why. But look how big, look how thick this is a thick boy. So if you're going to make it that thick, might as well give me the fatter fan, the bigger fan. Not this small one. Again, these are all, I'm picky, so these are all things that, hey, we're paying big money. We should get decent features as possible, right? I mean, this angular design, I could do with less of this fat part, this depth, this white part. I wish it was all this color, all the way through, cutting off right here and then going this way. I don't really care too much about the design, the angular design. You can't, I can't use my L bracket that I had because it goes right here, right? Well, it goes over here. The L bracket and this part Doesn't sit well with my L bracket. It's a generic L bracket from Amazon. Cost me 12 bucks. I use it for my 970. It worked perfect, but I can't use it for this because it ends up like this. It looks weird. It's still gonna sag because of that design. If this was all flat, it would hold it in place better. It can't with this design. This is nice. This is nice. This is nice. Except this part. When the LED passes, look at right here. You see that LED right here? When it passes, look, you can't see the LED. So we need less plastic to see more of the LED. I don't know if because this is too thick, is that why we're getting the flickering? I don't know. Maybe we need to get less flickering is less in this and add another LED on this side. Maybe. I mean, I don't really see the flickering over here because this is already covered by a fan. So when this is spinning, it's covered by these fans. So maybe that's the flickering also. Because this is under these, we see the flickering. Because it's being covered now on this side and on this side with the fans, plus this section here. So that could be an issue with the LEDs. Again, you'll see in the video coming up what I'm talking about. But again, the smaller here would have been nicer. Less. Look at that. Make it this thin. We could do without that. Same thing on this side. But again, I'm picky. If I had made my own GPU, probably would have done that. Okay. The back plate here, we need the copper. That's what bothers me about this graphics card. The other ones had it. The 1080 Ti's had it. We don't get it here. And their unboxing, the Aorus official unboxing, I believe they said they removed it because they don't need it. I believe we need it. Copper right here. Make it look cool. But everything is nice, right? The fins look nice. So I'm going to leave it there so you can see. %, 30 Celsius goes to 40%. And then if it goes to 50% profile at 50, and then at 80%, at the 80% profile of the fan speed and 80% temperature, or 80 Celsius. So it's at 68C, 240 megahertz. It won't go higher than that anymore. Superposition 4K. And on auto fan setting, profile and afterburner. It looks like it's at 60 to 70% fan speed right now. I would say 70% fan speed because of the 69C. It's going to scale with the fan profile. So 60%, 70C, 70%. It's not going to go over 70. No way at 75. And never at 80. So it's at 70C, 70% fan profile. There's 71. Go back to 70. This is the 5th time I'm running the benchmark. And we'll do it again at a higher fan setting so you could see. Okay, this is my 5th time running the benchmark. 64C, but at 80% fan speed. It's not going to touch 70. So look what 10 fan speed 70 does compared to 80. 70 was before, or because it's scaled with the Celsius temperature. Now it's at 80. 65C. And it would even be cooler if it was at 100%, which I'll show you in a bit. So if you leave it at 100% 24/7, that's because you choose to, it's always going to stay cold. Well, cool. And even the megahertz will go up. You'll see. It'll be like at 255, maybe even 270. So it's 5-degree difference between 70 and 80. Goes to show how ventilation and the fan profile does make a difference in keeping your card warm or cool. So this is again the 5th time running it. 100% fan speed. The megahertz went up to 255, and the temperatures is 59 Celsius. 60. It'll go back down to 59. If I can focus. There goes 59. So all these 3 tests were at 5 times. I did it 5 times to get a warm card. If you do it once from a cold boot up, yeah, it'll be at 270 for the first run, which is not realistic. So at least 5 times to get you guys an idea. So basically at 70 was at 70 Celsius. At 80 fan speed, 65. And then at 100% fan speed, 5960 in temperature. And at 100%, the megahertz went up 15. So there you go. So the honeymoon period is over. You know, as you can see in my first unboxing, please mind you, my first video was the unboxing, and I know it was a little cringeworthy. I just wanted to, you know, I did it on my phone. It took me 5 minutes to do on the phone. I wanted to put something out, and that's what got me into, I'll do more videos on the card, because, you know, I've gotten some messages, you know, asking questions about it. So it's not a problem. You know, I'm here to help. This channel is primarily VR and will be about VR. I've been wanting to do this channel for a while. I just got the graphics card. You know, you can't do VR without a graphics card, so had to wait because the 1080 Ti's, you couldn't find any, you couldn't find them back in April, and they were too expensive. So even though this is too expensive, still, but had to start sometime. So here we are. So just want to let you guys know, this is my take on this graphics card. You know, I'm not a pro. I don't have a website. I bought the card. I wanted it for VR. I wanted it for gaming. These are my findings. So I would recommend you look at this video, you know, learn from it, go to other websites, go to other, YouTubers out there, and you get as much information as possible. That's the main thing. You know, no one is right, no one is wrong. You have to get as much information as possible for you to make up that decision and for you to say, is it worth it? It's not worth it. This guy said something I like. This guy said something I didn't like, meaning regarding towards the card. Hey, I didn't know this is about, this situation with the card has happened to this person, but this person says otherwise. You get as much information as possible so you can make the best decision on if this is right for you, if this card is worth your time and money. And that's how it should be. When I go look for reviews on a monitor or anything, I check out YouTubers. I go to websites. I get as much information as possible. I bought a gaming chair, a Stealth Labs gaming chair. I went over to about, I want to say 30 YouTubers. I checked a whole bunch of YouTubers before I made the decision to buy the chair, and I still didn't like it when I got it. So, and I'm going to do a review on that myself. So, if you're picky, I'm picky. You might be picky. Get as much information as possible from all the sources you can, and then you make that decision. Honeymoon is over. I love the graphics card, but the things I mentioned I would change. I'm keeping it. It's pretty. But is it worth $879 pretty? I think this card, $799 with the LEDs. If last generation $699 was the 1080 Ti, no reason for this to be over $799. But what are you going to do? Thanks for watching. Please leave a like, comment, subscribe if you like the video. Get ready for some VR gameplay pretty soon. Early next year, all the VR stuff will happen on the channel. Thanks again. Thanks for your time. Take care. Bye. I game directly on my monitor. My computer's right next to me. Right here. The graphics card can oh my gosh. You'll see later on the videos. There's a video on blah 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 blah. So I hope you enjoyed this video. If you liked the video, please leave a like, comment, subscribe, and share it.